Good morning. Welcome back to DS Radio Show. Good morning, John. How are you? I'm just going to sort through a bunch of these connectors I've got here for a moment. See what everybody's up to. What did everybody think about the game last night? That was a pretty cool game. Unusual for Kansas City not to make much of a score till towards the end, but oh well. I'm glad Eagles won it though. I didn't want to see Mahomes have another game, another Super Bowl. So I'm glad the Eagles pulled it off. I'm not an Eagles fan. I'm Buffalo Bills, but our team didn't go. But if I got to see anybody win, I'd rather see Eagles get it. So that was pretty cool. So then I got to go through a bunch of this stuff. I kind of collected way too much, and I'm trying to get things more organized here a little bit. And some stuff fell out of these bags, and other things are just kind of like, okay, whatever, all over the place here. So, but anyhow, good morning to one, good morning to all. Kind of wonder what everyone's got hot topics today. Don't really have much going on at the moment here, just sorting through my components. I did have one person ask me why is the SWR so important. So I guess we can talk about that a little bit. So if you don't have a good SWR, it means you don't have a good ground system to your antenna, which means you've got a good high risk of frying your RF finals, your transistors in the back end of the radio. A lot of guys don't realize this, but a lot of guys do. So not quite sure why some people continue to talk on the radios knowing the SWR is high. Doesn't make any sense to me. If you got a high SWR, stop what you're doing and fix it. Don't continue on, because you're only going to damage the radio. Then you're going to be upset because you got to put more money into it. And I actually had a person come here one day and he says, you fixed the radio for me. I said, yeah. Well, now it's not working. So what do you mean? Well, the needle goes backwards. Okay, what's your SWR? Well, what is that? I said, oh, well, there's the first mistake. I can only assume you guys have good SWRs. So we had to help him over the phone with that. Then he got upset. He says, well, shouldn't you have told me that to begin with? I said, well, shouldn't you have already known how to start a truck and know how to drive it before you start the truck? He said, what do you mean? I said, well, it's not my job to remind everybody about your SWR. That's your job to know that you don't just put a CB in a vehicle and expect it to work. You guys got to pull your weight too, So I had to take and explain to him all about SWR. And after explaining this to him, he says, no, I understand. We even did a demo with this 29, so he understood completely 100%. And he did it himself, hands-on. And he said, okay, nope, I got it. So, okay, cool. Get them all squared away. He's set to go, only to find out 2 weeks later, he gets to a different truck. Don't you think the same thing happened again? I said, did you check your SWR? No. You know how to do it, right? Yep. Well, then that's why your radio's all fried up again. He says, yeah, but does it matter what vehicle you get into? I said, well, yeah, it matters what vehicle you get into. I thought you just matched the radio to the antenna. I says, no. You match the antenna to the vehicle, to the ground source, to the plane. You don't take and mount that or match it to your radio. Says your antenna doesn't know what radio that you have. It's not aware of it being a Cobra, Galaxy, Export, whatever. It doesn't know any of that. So, yes, it is important to maintain a good SWR, guys. If you don't, well, then I don't know what to tell you. Other than it is what it is if you fry your stuff. So, Good morning, Michael, Steve, Kevin, and Brandon. How are you guys? Good morning, Jody and his family. How are you guys? Way down there in Tioga. Just got a text message from you. Oh, let's see. More of those here. Yeah, I'm just kind of sorting through my parts while we do a little morning rag. She'll give me something to do other than you guys staring at the bench. Nothing, no movement. So we're figuring we'd just take and get a hole in this bag. So we're going to get rid of that bag. Oh, let's see. I got a bunch more of those, don't I? Thought I had another bag full. Yeah, right here. Thought we did. Transfer these ones over as well. That gives me an extra baggie to work with. Keep them all in one spot. I gotta build a dipole antenna for a friend. Oh, there's another bag right here. Jeez. Yeah, my connector drawer here got a little cluttered, so we decided to organize it this morning before we get involved with all kinds of major repairs today. But yeah, I got to build a dipole for a guy, and I'm going to show you guys an easy way of doing this, what we call a easy transport connect disconnect system. You guys do the same thing, yeah. I'm going to need you here, I suppose, then. Jeez. So stay tuned for the dipole video, as that will be coming up here real soon. Probably going to be doing it at some point in time this afternoon. Or maybe this morning. I don't know. We'll see. I got to get onto these radios here. I got a lot of radios that need to be done. So, but I got to take and get some smaller projects out of the way as well. Okay, I'm going to use the last one. Got one left here. Yeah, Jody, if you guys are on watching, feel free to jump in the chat. No problems. Okay, what do we got? These guys here. There. Oh, we had another one here. I guess I don't. All right, whatever. Hello, Chris. Good morning, David. Good morning, 456. How are you? Morning, James. How are you? Will an auto tuner work? Yes. Provided what you have and how your system is set up, yes, that would work. And Brandon says, well, how does a J-pole work? So, that's an interesting question, Brandon, because a J-pole is very unique in its own. It truly is. So it's one of those antennas that are unexplainable. However, the tuning of a J-pole, you have to adjust a measurement to obtain a good SWR. So let me finish what I'm doing here, and I will go over that with you. So yeah, it makes no sense with a J-pole because it actually showed up as a dead short, and you would think, well, how if I transmit, I'm going to fry my radio. So yeah, give me a second here to move things out of the way. Yeah, just give me a moment here, and I'll draw this out for you. It's easier that way for me than you know, how I explain it, other than to show you or just tell you my words. So give me a second here to. I think that's all. 3.5s. Yeah, J-pole is very strange. Very strange. Nice but strange. Very strange indeed. Let's see, I'll leave you guys here with this. That's a brand new one. I guess. Put stuff in order. So much easier to, to have them all banged up than it is to just loose. Then I can take an inventory as to what I actually have when I want to build something. So I'm going to be using some of these connectors when I do the dipole today. I haven't decided which yet. I'm thinking the banana connectors, but I gotta see which way I want to go with that. Thought I had a bigger baggie here. I'm going to be here for a little bit with this. So let me see if I can draw this out for you. Okay, so with the J-pole, it's very different. All right, so here's your J-pole. All right. Morning, Matt. How are you? So this is what you're going to run into. This is like a different setup altogether from any other antenna. What you see is like a letter J, right? In reverse, obviously. So when you do a J-pole, if you first of all, let's just say your connector's right here, for the coax, right? That's your matching stuff. Now, if you did a continuity check from point A to point B and point A to point B, you're going to find out that every piece of this J-pole touches. It's all continuity. So you would think, well, that's a dead short, which, yes. However, the capacitance tuning here is what changes all the magic. So what happens is when you do this, we're going to go this way, and we're going to leave a space. And what that space is for is a non-conductive piece of plexiglass that bolts down. Okay. Now I did it this way because typically what you'd do is actually you would take and mount that plastic right here to the half-inch copper, and then your tubing as well. So what you're looking for is the tuning here. Now this becomes very important because this has to be spaced just so right, and then this here has to be a height of just so much, and that gives you your tuning of the bandwidth along with the lengths of what you've got here for your tubing. So let's say, for example, let's go with 60 inches tall. We do this for VHF, UHF, okay? And let's say this is going to be typically like 21 3/4. We'll call it. Yeah, that's fine. 21 3/4 inch. Okay. What that means is by 10. Well, let's see. 19 minus the difference. Yeah, it'd be roughly about like this. It might even be like maybe 20. Might be about like 20 3/4. Actually, I think it is. So what you need typically is to do a VHF UHF antenna. You would only need something that's going to be 19 1/4 inches to get you your VHF band. Okay. However, this measurement here is more than this because you're going to end up having like a little nub sticking down like so. So that's your half-inch copper. So what you're going to end up having is 19 1/4 inches roughly from here to here. Okay? So this little bit is okay because what's going to happen is it's going to actually tee off to this point as such. Now, we have our measurement there, but we also have to get our measurement here. And they've got formulas. I forget what they were now. What was it? 7. I don't remember what off the top of my head is 700 something or 468 divided by frequency, or I forget what it was now. I'd have to look it up. I don't remember off the top of my head. I used to do these all the time. I used to memorize this stuff. I don't do this much anymore. But anyway, so whatever your formula is would come out to be what the measurements would be. And this right here would be the distance from that. So typically, let's say you have a platform. You want to bring this piece here down, we'll say, well, at least 3.5 inches. That right, or is it 3 inches? That's 3, because you're 3.5, right? Or is that 3.5 up? 3. I'm trying which way it went now. It's either 3 inches here and then this part would be 3.5 inches. Yeah, that's what it was. Yep. So 3.5 inches up and down. That's your space in between. Down here means nothing. So then this would be your base platform, and then you've got your 3 inches going across. And so if you get those measurements where they need to be, and you adjust this where it needs to go, so what you're doing is you're adjusting this up and down on your 50 inch, or 60 inch, sorry, rather, your 5 foot. You're going to find the right area for that bandwidth, but then you've also got to have the spacing here correct as well. So you're looking to get this where it needs to be from the stub up to this point. So, for example, let me get my my print up, because I've actually got. I did that with the lamp, and came out great. Let me do this. I'm going to print this up right quickly. Just much easier. I can show you guys more other than my scratchy drawing. I'll give that a second to print up, and then I'll show you. I'll show you what I mean here in a moment. Just wait for it to print up. Get this out of the way. All right, pay attention, Brandon. This is your question. Okay. Trying to sort the parts out here. Making a mess. Okay. This is something I designed and engineered myself. And it came out to be a great hit, as many of you all already know. Okay, will that work? Yes. As far as the SWR goes, I would be in question of. It looks like your measurements are off on this. Looks like it's too close to the bottom and not enough spacing. So I would say your SWR on that was probably going to be high. If you were to check your SWR, that would probably be high. You're on the right step. It's just you got to space it and measure a little bit better. But otherwise, you're pretty close with that. So you're doing a good job. You just got to kind of tweak it a little bit here. So let's go back to the illustration of the print here, so you can see. What I'm talking about here. Okay, so this right here is what you'd come up with. So this is a lamp. They're generally about 5 foot tall, okay? So, 58 inches from the lower part of where the shade is to the base. I'm sorry, to this, 58 inches from the highest point down would be to your low point of the J-pole, okay? So what I came up with, took me a little while after about 4 or 5 prototypes to perfect this with no calibration needed. So these are all preset for everything. And so what this does is you got your 58 inches here. You've got 3.5 inches spacing from the platform to where my low point is going to be. And then at that point, we've got our 3.5 inches spacing from the top side of this bolt. It's a 1/4 inch bolt. You can use up to 5/16, but I wouldn't go past that. So 1/4 inch bolt, and then you go up 3.5 inches to center. So there's your 3.5 to center. This is your plexiglass. The shield goes to one side, and your center connector goes to the other side. Then you got 3-inch spacing between the outside of this body of the lamp to the inside of this here body of the 1/2 inch copper tubing. And this would give you 19.25 inches from here to here. So we're going to make that actually a total of 21 inches long. I put 23/4, but yeah, 21 inches. I knew it had to be somewhere close to that because you're going to have a little stub hanging off, but that's okay. So this will give you the proper tuning. So where you raise this part up and down and the spacing in between is what gives you your capacitance change of the SWR. So that's where it becomes critical. But if you still do a continuity check, it's all going to show touching, which it is what it is because you're down here with a solid connection. This is not fully isolated because you've got that connected for your low point. So this is where all the information takes place, is how you raise and lower. Your wire is kind of low and your spacing here seems to be a little tight. So you kind of like compressed and compressed. So you want to not compress those, you want to expand, and then I think you'll be on the right track where you are, is where this is going to be. Oh, you found that picture? Okay, I thought something you made. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, they're on the right track, it's just not quite exact. Yes.
Did you save your voicemail?
Yeah, I didn't see no, they didn't have no room to school or nothing. He's just factually late again. So, but yeah, this is what you're looking for right here. This is the measurement. So you want to be 58 inches from point A to point B. At that section, you're going to come across I am using a 6-inch long bolt, double nut on both sides, double nut on both sides. It's a quarter inch bolt, 1/4 20 thread. So what you're going to do at that point is when you come down 58 inches from the base point, 3.5 up, 3-inch spacing, 3.5 up from this point, the top of the bolt to the center of your, sorry, I said that wrong, from the center of the bolt to the center of the plexiglass. Should be center to center, would be 3.5 inches. And that would give you a pre-calibrated antenna J-pole system. Now if you want to change this for a CB band, you could do that. You got to have a longer bolt here, or I mean a longer pipe, which should be about like another foot, I think it is. And then I forget how long this is going to be, but this becomes a little bit longer as well. And then of course your spacing up and down, side side, and here changes as well. So calculations for this is for a VHF UHF. If you want to go for 11 meters, then these are going to be a lot larger. And if you want to do much more bigger yet, like a tower, if you want to take a tower and you want to put that to a J-pole and still use the tower for its main purpose with an antenna on top, you could do that. But again, it's going to be different. We were going to take a friend's tower and turn that into a 20-meter J-pole, but we would have came out like, I think it said 8 or 10 feet this direction, and then come up like another, whatever it is going to be, 7 or 8, 10 feet. So you would have had to anchor that down with a non-conductive strap of some sort to hold this pipe from swaying back and forth. So we were going to do that. We never had the chance to get it done, but you could take a tower and convert that into a J-pole, use the tower as an antenna along with whatever antenna you got up on top would be isolated by itself as the antenna and what you wanted to run for that bandwidth. So yes, you can do it either way. You could put the conductive side over here and the shield on that side, but typically this would be your shield, and that would be your conductive side. But I've seen people do it either way, and it still comes out the same. Slightly different on the tuning a little bit, but yeah, I use the shield here, and I use the center conductor over on the shorter element. So yeah. No, you don't have any RF loss. No. And what's nice about this design, it took me a while. They said I sat down one day and wanted to check it out and playing around with some measurements. And I made 327 of these lamps. My mom, my son, and I made 327 of these things and sold them for $48 a piece. So we had quite the year. That was back 2019 when we built all these things. So it's 6 years ago, come spring, since we did these, and we don't make them anymore because I just let everybody take the measurements and do what they want with it. Because we don't have room to store these things. So, but it's really easy to do. You don't have to buy a lamp. You can just build it yourself out of copper piping if you wish. So I've seen people use copper tubing down, and they come down the copper tubing here with an elbow to here, and then they have your spacing in between, which I've seen people just use hardwire from a connector floating. But I use plexiglass because I want something more stable to kind of support the two posts, and at the same time I don't want my connector floating around. So that's what I do. So yippers. So that's what she bees. And yeah, I can share this if anybody wants. I can put this on a post for you. Let me turn my Zello up. I think I heard somebody say that too.
Nikolai posted an online J-pole calculator in chat.
Oh, okay. Michael posted online. Yeah, because you can read online and do the J-pole calculation, which I don't remember what they are now. It's been so long since I've done these. It's like 6 years already. So, but it works great. So if you guys are looking to build a simple J-pole antenna, there you have it. I mean, it's not hard. It's just how bad do you want it? You know, really is what it comes down to. If you want it bad enough, you're going to make it. Take the time, put the effort into it. It's all going to come out good. If you don't, well, then I guess you don't have an antenna. But yeah, this was my baby, my little design that I did, and proud of myself because no one's ever thought of this before, and this design anyways. And so we took, we went to the first Ham Fest, a local one, and they had a lot of new equipment. Everybody walked away from those people. They came over to my table, and they're like, "What the heck is this?" And everyone's like, "Wow, we've got all this brand new equipment that everybody couldn't wait to see." And they all just came over to the table and then walked away when they see me pulling out these lamps. And everyone kept thinking, "Why is he bringing a yard sale item to a Hamfest show?" Until they started realizing I'm talking on one with an HT, and I hit that thing. Let's see, from it was from Palmyra to Moravia is where the frozen ocean repeater is. So from Palmyra to Moravia is a hell of a jump. And so we took and opened the repeater at that point in time. A little scratchy, but we got it, and we made a contact onto it. And they could not believe I used a little 4-watt, which you're probably getting about 3.5 maybe watts out of a Baofeng. And I sat inside with my lamp on top of one of the tables, inside the fire hall, or it was like a VFW, I guess, whatever. But inside the building where everyone's got all the radios going, all this interference, your lamps, your this, your that, and I made a contact on the repeater that was XYZ away. And I know that Moravia from here is a good, 40 minutes from Clyde. And Palmyra is another, 18 miles west yet. So, I mean, that was a big jump, huge jump, which was my selling point, because when I did this, everybody couldn't believe it, and they wanted that antenna. So this is exactly what I had done, and I wanted something to help people with the HOA. I wanted something to help people with put them on the air. So if maybe your kid wanted to get on, but you didn't really want to put an antenna on the roof just yet, or you kind of want to see how they do, it's a cheap way to make an antenna. You can enjoy the hobby, and if you want to grow with it, then you can, you know. So there's many reasons why I did it, but the main one was because of HOA. I just got sick and tired of hearing these communist people, and that's exactly what they are. Drama queen communists. And they would take and go to these Hamfest shows, and, well, I can't do this and I can't do that because I live in HOA. It's like, oh my God. You know, HOA, I understand the vast majority is everyone wants to keep good, clean yards and this, that, and the other. I get it. Every neighborhood should have that, right? But you got to find line not to cross. And these Karens, all these Karens, if you will, it's like ridiculous. My God, I don't even want to get on that topic because I could never live in an HOA. There's no way. Because if anybody came on my property and rang my doorbell and they wanted to give me all kinds of hate and discontent because, God forbid, I left for work 5 minutes earlier in the morning, or my lights were on too late at night, or I put a utility trailer in my driveway and it's 4 inches off from where it should be, or I'm using my garden hose 10 minutes longer than I want to, you would not like me at all. There's no way would I ever tolerate that. I mean, you spend all this money on a home, and you got to put up with these idiots that come to your house and tell you what to do. I'd be the first one to sit on his or her front yard and tell them, wait a minute, your light was on past 9 o'clock. It was 9:01. I heard your faucet run at 6 a.m. this morning out in the backyard with your sprinkler. You usually don't do that till 7 a.m. I mean, I would give any excuse to go over there just to give it right back to them. Because it's ridiculous. It's stupid. It's like a Jerry Springer show. Who wants that kind of drama in your life? I mean, if you're going to have laws and zoning take effect as to, okay, we got to have a clean yard, don't have trash laying around, don't do this, I get it. I'm cool. But there's a fine line that you don't cross, and these guys, they cross them every given second that they want. So this is the main reason why I came up with the antenna, because I kept hearing these people at the Hamfest shows, you know, they walk around these bow fangs, and that's what they're stuck to. They got a bow fang, and they can't do nothing else. It's like, yeah, you can do other stuff. No, because I can't do this. Listen, can't. Here's what I always told my students when I taught martial arts years ago. Can't is a word that does not exist. It's a lazy form of action. Don't ever say you can't. It's you can if you put your mind to it. You find a way around it. You know, so overcome, improvise, right? Adapt. So we found a way to do exactly this by using this J-pole idea through a lamp, and that took off like wildfire. And we ended up selling these, like I said, 327 of these things we sold during that year. So one of the Hamfests we went to, we took 52 of these things just for trial and error, kind of see what would happen up in the Rochester area. Oh my God, they were gone less than an hour. Everyone's carrying these lamps around. So it was a great time. But again, it goes back to, we're trying to help people in the hobby to do things, and that's just the way it's got to be. So anyway, I'm going to let you guys go. We're going to move on, and thank you all for watching. If anybody else has any more questions, feel free to contact me. Put your comments and thoughts down below in the chat section there, or in the comments below, and we'll talk to you guys here soon. Stay tuned. We'll be back here shortly at the DH Radio.